anywhere else. KUAWN of and about our community.
This is the last weekend before Christmas, and on Blues Time in the City, we're wrapping up our All Christmas Blues and Southern Soul program.
Gene Bailey.
We have a very special guest that you will definitely enjoy, and we'll hear from some of the artists that sing the Christmas blues. Join me, Gene Bailey, for Blues Time in the City this weekend before Christmas, right here.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW family.
The Cheryl Underwood Show. Weekdays Monday through Friday at 12 noon. KUAW around the world on KUAW.org.
Todd Tribbett, we gonna be all right here on the Jamal Bakes Show. I'm your brother in Christ, Jamal Bakes. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, fam, for another weekend, all right? We've got a big show for you, man. As always, the Rose Show Live. Oh.
Thank you very much for tuning in today. Today is Saturday, January 9th. Wave Your Grades, brought to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here at KUAW.org, emanating from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. My name is Carl Boyd, and speaking in behalf of our announcer, DeQuay Wilson, looking forward to her return. She is doing well, just has some added responsibilities in her life, and we're looking forward to our producer, announcer, co-host, and engineer, DeQuay Wilson, coming back with us. We're going to get right into our Wave Your Grades, featuring veterans and students program, because our very special, usually first Saturday guests, and now second Saturday for this particular month, guest Valencia Broadus is on the line with us, has a limited amount of time, so let us get started right away saying, welcome, attorney Valencia Broadus. Hello to you. It is good to hear from you this Saturday morning, and you have some very special emphases we want to place on today's program, so please get us started.
I shall. You know, all over. Thank you, Mr. Boyd and Mr. Walker, and everyone, just for listening and allowing us to really come into your home and your car, and your phone, of course, and talk to you. On the news the past week and a half, here locally anyway, in Kansas City and around the country perhaps as well, we here locally had a very, basically, two homeless persons, died from just being in the freezing cold.
Yes.
And, if you think about that, it probably happens a whole lot more often than we know, but it definitely has been on our local news stations a lot. Like, okay, you think about homelessness, and then of course with COVID, there's been a big need. People that normally can go and find some shelter in like City Union Mission, places like that, because of COVID, they've had to even restrict some of those beds, so more people are out in the cold, and so as I've been listening to it the past week and a half, and because I work with young people, then people are always saying, so not just like what is happening, but what can we do? What can we do about
Absolutely.
these things? And um, sometimes there are big, grandiose things you can do. We can build some shelters and have beds and so everybody can have a place to be. Well, that isn't going to happen right away. So what about the right now, stuff? So several of the young people that we've been talking with, and of course our BEU network, the Black Economic Union Network, we've been trying to work with ourselves and talk to ourselves about what can we do right now, especially since everyone who knows about BEU housing and development, that's who they are.
Well,
And
let
so,
me uh,
go ahead, please.
let me set this up a little better as it relates to your introduction and young people. And when I say set it up,
Oh, go ahead, please.
it will not be, it'll just be a little more than 1 year before my 80th birthday.
Oh,
And back in the day, Attorney Valencia brought us in 2021, we had this stereotype of what was called Skid Row, homeless people, and our stereotype was very adult white males in trench coats along the streets begging for something to eat. We didn't think about families, we didn't think about children, and it looked like an aberration in this wonderful thing called America. Our young people started studying the truth of the matter, never imagining that it would be visited upon them now in the throes of a pandemic era and a number of other things going on. Attorney Valencia brought us, came to us on Wave Your Grades initially with the Smart Club, but now these very astute young people having to pay attention to this kind of thing includes the Smart Club and others. So please set up the young people with whom you are working and how you approach today's topic.
Okay, thank you. Because I just talked on it.
No, that's fine.
um,
Fine.
no, thank you so much. We the Smart Career Club. We've been around, for 20 some years, and
Yes, ma'am.
we help just to develop young people to catch their dreams and make them grow. And what we have found in doing that, it's not just about academics or them getting certain jobs. It is about them being very socially aware of what's going on in their communities, and also helping them to understand from a civics and leadership standpoint that they do have responsibilities now to try to do what they can to either them do things to help make the world a better place, leave it better than you found it, or definitely engage the people around you, parents and friends and others, to help you to think through to help make it better. And so volunteerism and civics and all of that stuff, where young people, when I was growing up, we had to do a lot of, helping the community, helping family, helping. Not the kids today don't help as much, but there isn't a big push now for all young people, not
Right.
no race or anything. about really the giving back. It's more of, here, young people, we just give you the world. Don't worry about it. Just live, enjoy yourself. We just give you the world. And then we expect them, after we've given them everything, give, then they get older, then we expect them to understand through osmosis how to give back, how to be
Right.
empathetic. So one of the things we do in our BEU, in our Leadership Academy for the young people, is we always are focusing on, yes, their dreams and their goals, but we pay a lot of attention to what's going on in the world, and we ask them to give input on it. If there's local stuff, then can we do anything? And if not, do we know other people who can? Because again, just because you can't do something, that means you just do nothing and go on home and go to sleep. We got to keep on trying. So when this came up in the news, our mayor Lucas and Councilman Ellington have been talking a lot about not just what happened, but that this has been a problem for a while,
Yes.
and they need the community to help. And we saw on the news maybe 3 days ago that Councilman Ellington, he had reached out to a local funeral home to ask if they would donate a funeral service to one of the persons. And I just kept thinking, okay, so people are stepping up and helping, and then just said, well, what can we do? We don't know yet, but we are going to be meeting. So they're reading about homelessness, and we've reached out to a couple of agencies, Restart, and some others to tell us more about homelessness. But not just that, its causes and its symptoms. Because going back to what you said, Mr. Boyd, so often there are homeless people sitting right next to us, and we don't even know it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, let me ask Brother Walker, Brandon Ellington is featured on KUAW, isn't that correct? So that Attorney Valencia Broadus was just talking to us about a situation that he has addressed. And can you tell us when he comes on KUAW?
Yes, he's on KUAW the first and third Sundays of the month at 3 o'clock.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Attorney Valencia Broadus, thank you for bringing this subject to KUAW.org. You know that as people listen, they are interested in becoming involved. The age group you work with, and how do young people become involved in what you are doing?
Well, absolutely. Thank you. We work with high schoolers and college students. We try to work as soon as we can with high school students so that we're doing as much as we can with them on, again, their career prep and all that, but building their life skills and their, civic mind, growing the civic mindedness and all that. So high school and college is a group that we work with, and they really just get involved by giving us a call and saying, I'm interested in doing what you're doing. We have a couple of scholarships coming up and competitions, one on civics and leadership.
That's right.
The other
Yes.
one, our financial literacy competition.
Yes.
And we always are looking for students to participate in that so they can earn scholarships. But it's about the participation. So Mr. Boyd's going to say, well, how do they reach you? So they can reach me by texting me at 816-612-1083. Again, they can text me at 816-612-1083. And whether you're a student interested, in more college enhancement or ACT, or just need scholarships and, have some time to work on studying to compete, to show your great skills, stuff like that. Parents, if you have questions or thoughts of, how can I help my young person to really get ready for the rigor of college, or definitely if they need volunteer opportunities. We do a lot of service learning hours, especially for high school students because we know they need them. So we try to do all that we can to help them to get where they're trying to go, and we do it through really understanding where this young person is and developing their skills and their empathy and their volunteerism and their just social awareness of how whatever they're going to study and be, they still will always have a place to make to their community to make a difference, and that they can do it now. So that number again is 816-612-1083.
Now, as we are once again in the throes of the pandemic era, there are some parents of those young people and young people themselves who suspect that their involvement might be post-pandemic and don't know if they can become immediately involved. So please assure them of how they can become involved now.
Oh, right away. Excellent. Yes. So we meet weekly. I talk to my students, the team pretty much every day. It's not every other day, but pretty much every day. We're texting and talking, and we hold Zoom meetings all the time as far as the events that we're doing and thinking and planning. And as you watch TV now, when you see concerts, everyone's learning to do everything virtually.
Mm-hmm.
So we plan events and do stuff, and we're going right on along with this virtual mode right now. So being involved, definitely you'll be able to kind of tap in our meetings, and I'll give the example. Even after we decide what we're going to do to help, once we understand the causes and symptoms of homelessness, we'll be thinking of some solutions, and that'll happen at our summit this weekend. It's not an open summit. It's more of just right now the BEU youth ambassadors and the BEU board, stuff like that. But right after we decide, how are we going to help? Are we going to do fundraising? Are we going to give hats and gloves? Whatever we're going to do.
Yes.
That will happen on Monday, January the 18th, which is the National Service Day, which also happens to be the Martin Luther King holiday.
Absolutely.
So a lot of what we're going to do, though, we won't really come together and do it all because of the pandemic, but we will decide what we're going to do, and then logistically, our young leaders will plan how we will execute it. Will we gather and then mail them to places or whatever we're going to do, but our young leaders are the best minds logistically to figure out how to use this internet and virtual connectivity to make things happen. They're amazing, and we would love for more of them to join us to help our communities to be greater.
The voice of attorney Valencia Broadus joining us first Saturdays, and this year, beginning in January on this second Saturday of the month, discussing homelessness. Attorney Valencia Broadus has been working with young people for decades. That doesn't age you. That reveals your experience and astuteness as it relates to working with the young people. Now, regarding homelessness, I think that you know that my 4-day work is at a homeless shelter. And one of the things that young people are directed to, and many people pass by this every day and don't give it a lot of thought, but there is a logo, yellow and black, triangular, and it simply says safe place. That's the logo, safe place. You will see it at a Quick Trip. You'll see it at the Mid-Continent Public Library, at the Kansas City Public Library. But wherever you see that logo, you can ask for direction as it relates to providing for those who are homeless and or for some reason have a dysfunctional situation as a young person. So the young people with whom you work will be offering, I guess, a list of resources or something like that.
Yes. So, no, absolutely. And the safe places are ideal, especially for the young people, because, and I'll say this part first, a lot of people don't really, they think about homelessness as, like you had mentioned, that it's older people, older white persons. And of course, here locally, we may understand that definitely minorities are also homeless. But
Yes. Yes.
often we don't think about it as kids
Right.
and family.
Right. Yeah, I was
A
speaking to the
lot of
stereotype.
students
Mm-hmm.
are homeless.
Yeah, believe me, I understand. And you made a statement. You said that we pass by people every day. In fact, we sit near people every day and have no idea that they might be homeless.
Yes.
The young people with whom I work are the total antithesis of a homeless stereotype. They are intelligent. They find ways to dress well so they don't have this appearance. Oftentimes projecting, and those who are in mental health will tell you that it is sometimes a defense mechanism, but oftentimes projecting a vibrant personality. You don't know who you're dealing with. And it is well, when you see safe place, what that means is that we make them comfortable enough to share what is going on, so that the library, the quick trip, those are not the safe places. They are the places where you are safe to inquire about where you might go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the interesting piece, and thank you, is for us to think about those places where people can go or need to go. Those number of places, they've dwindled so much now because of COVID. Having to not just money, resources, but really space. And so
yes,
Mr. Councilman Ellington and the mayor others have been talking about is they need more and more people to think about providing, especially during COVID, because they have to, do the distancing and where if a shelter normally have 50, they might only be able to do 35.
or fewer. That's right.
Have to go somewhere else. And so it's happening so much,
yes,
which is why more and more persons they're out in the cold more and maybe hungry more because they're not in the place where they would be to get, warmth and food and all that stuff. So what we've been trying to think about is, from the youth perspective, is all those places that provide the services, we can list them as resources, but right now they probably need some more resources.
Wow.
Whether it is,
yes,
every dollar counts going to those places.
That's right.
So collecting dollars for them, or if people have to be out more, us really collecting the items and supplies that they need, because they may have to take them now to a lot of the tent spots. If they, how do you keep the people warm and all that? So we don't know what the solutions the young people will decide on, but we will give a list of resources. But I do know one of the things we're looking at now is how can we give resources to the resources. So just
yes,
so you'll know.
yes,
because that's what we're listening to, what like the city and others are saying that they need. So they need additional places. Then those places that could do the places, they need resources, and it could be anything. But so we'll be researching that more and talking about it, and then we'll make a decision and of what we're going to do, and then we definitely will be announcing it to let you know. And I will be definitely trying to catch and tune in with Councilman Ellington on Sundays Is he on tomorrow, or is it next Sunday?
That would be, did you say first and third Sundays for Brandon Ellington? Brother Walker, that is first and third Sundays, did you say? For
Yes, he is on here with a show called What's Real, Real Talk. And that's on the first and third Sundays of the month at 3 p.m.
Right.
So he won't be on till next Sunday.
Next
so
Sunday.
we'll just call him at City Hall then.
Yes, yes. But I hear Attorney Valencia brought us serving at least two purposes. One, helping to direct young people towards the resources they need. Two, offering young people an opportunity to participate in helping those who need services, however that help may manifest in terms of providing for direction to shelters, food, clothing, toiletries, things that young people need, and then becoming a part. So you have the final word in this first half hour, and you know that I'm going to ask that you end with, once again, directions.
No, excellent. Thank you all just for listening. Let's take care of each other. It's
Yes.
2021. New starts on many levels for us all, but we got to take advantage of the starts and help one another. And so, please, think about helping our young people to help others. They would really, really, really love just to know that people care to help them as they try to help. And you can reach us. You can text me at 816-612-1083, and you can just say, Miss V, I want to help. But text me, because if you call me, I won't know your number, so I won't answer. I'm honest about that. But if you text me,
Absolutely.
and then I'll call you back. You can just say, I want to help, and your name, and I will call you back and just let you know what the young people are doing and how we all can help them to help the community even more. And thank you all so much for allowing us always to come on and just talk and share.
Absolutely. We thank you so very, very much. And we actually have an extra 35 or 40 seconds for you to shout out for us some of the young people we missed this morning and congratulate them on what they're doing.
So, Miss Jasmine, who is leading our parliamentary procedure, hello. And then we have Miss Paris, who's helping us to develop and lead a financial literacy competition. We have Miss Heaven and Miss Syria, who help us with marketing and promotion. And we have Miss Bria, who's also helping with our civic leadership and new college outreach. We have Miss Jalen, who's definitely, there's so many of them that are in school making some things happen. Brother Malachi, I know, and Miss Madison. Hello to everybody. They're all doing great.
Absolutely.
Making things happen. Thank you
right.
for that.
Thank you, and God bless you. Be safe, please.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. This is Wave Your Grades, KUAW, KUAW.org, emanating from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, Saturdays from 1 until 2 p.m. My name is Carl Boyd, and I am going to ask Louis George Walker if he would, in the words of the old days, Brother Walker, pot up the theme song one more time, because the interview was more brief than it ordinarily is, and I want to make a transition into another subject. This is Wave Your Grades. And there is a reason I want to do some of this again. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. I said, in this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. You make this parade a mere charade if you're marching just for fun. Our troops must feel your thanks for real before the marching is done. They know side by side you can match their stride to the drum beat and the brass, but they're not impressed with you unless you can match their stride in class. This may not sound too diplomatic, but I cannot be more emphatic as I tell you, it's problematic when you do less than your best, especially when it's because you put your brilliance on pause for the mere peer applause it draws from a so-called friend doing less. Quit playing. I'm saying, you know that you are great, and we know it, so show it. Don't make our heroes wait. In this parade, please wave your grades at the brave who fight for you. If you don't gain, they fight in vain. Show them what you can do. Show them what you can do. Please show them what you can do. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you why on Wave Your Grades we reintroduced the theme song, and I want to talk a little bit about that within the context of where we are in the United States of America on Saturday, January 9th, 2021. In that theme song, our youth, our young people, our American students are admonished to do their very best in school in behalf of our veterans and active duty military personnel. Did not know I would get this opportunity this afternoon to talk a little bit about the origins and philosophy of the Stoots for Boots program. And Brother Walker, I don't say enough that this program is brought to you by Stoots for Boots, the parent organization that founded Wave Your Grades. Stoots for Boots is an organization, as a matter of fact, when you correspond with me and when I correspond with you, you will notice that I refer to Stoots for Boots as a 501c3 nonprofit organization rather than an organization, because we look for our young people to be academic activists. The idea here, as it relates to philosophy, kind of gained traction in 2007 in Waco, Texas, and the Central Texas African American Chamber of Commerce was responsible for Waco, Texas, giving me a day. And it was based on a book, The Fifth Front Campaign. Now, I'm saying all of that to say that we got to this point after I wrote that book because the Fifth Front stands for a part of America that is too often neglected, and that is our schools. So this is the quote, Brother Walker, that you'll find on the back of my book. I don't have it in front of me. I'll try to be as accurate as I can in the way that I wrote it. But Bob Woodward wrote a book, the title of which is Bush at War. Bush at War. At the time that I wrote my book, George W. Bush was the president, and we were in the throes of something to which we referred as the War on Terror. Now, there are some people who will recall the War on Terror, what that was about. And in his book, Bob Woodward, he quoted President Bush as having said, "We are fighting this war on many fronts." And he said the financial side, the intelligence side, the military side, and the diplomatic side. the financial side, the intelligence side, the military side, and the diplomatic side. So in my introduction to the Fifth Front campaign, I said that he omitted one side. The Fifth Front is the education front. And the idea is if our young people are not educated, all other fronts are moot because they're not going to be in a position to intelligently inherit what we leave them, what we present to them. Brother Walker, I could not have imagined myself being something that would be called prophetic. It just that's what was going on then. My Lord, what we are leaving our children from this day forward could be a tragedy. Now, we are blessed, and Wanda and I talk about it often, that some mean it for evil, but God means it for good. We have a pandemic where just recently the highest number of deaths ever in one day were reported. That's the pandemic. We have had in the past year demonstrations based upon racial unrest and the lack of unity in the United States of America. As a matter of fact, the disunity was so acute that we were getting to the point where we thought it couldn't get any worse. Up pops January 6th. And it got worse. So when I think in terms of waive your grades and the responsibility that these young people have to create a better society, that's what I'm talking about. And the context I'm putting it in is there are people who have fought for us, who have died for us, who have gone places a long way away from America and have not been respected when they have come home. There are some people who have been in war zones that have not been as dangerous as their neighborhoods when they return to the United States of America. There have been people who were reluctant to understand what Stoots for Boots was all about because they abhor war. And I want to say that we honor the warriors, not the war. As a matter of fact, the idea is to encourage our young people in the United States of America to study war no more. That the idea is to study peace, to bring about peace. And when we look at what we have before us now, the reason that we can thank God is because God can take something that's real ugly and create something that's beautiful, but we have to be willing to follow God. As a matter of fact, I never said it to anybody, but I think of what I would refer to as the Joseph factor. Now, what is the Joseph factor? When you checked out Joseph in the Bible, whose brothers got rid of him, and he emerged as the second next to the king, and when his brothers came, he had an opportunity to do them some significant harm. But the Joseph factor recognized they meant it for evil, but God turned it around for good. Yes. The Joseph factor, when the Lord said to Joseph, whose betrothed was Mary, was going to have a child before you had anything to do with us, with her. That's kind of rough. But the Joseph factor was God helping him to understand the miracle that was taking place. He was warned as to where to go and how to deal with these wonderful things coming. The Joseph factor. The third part of the Joseph factor is our president-elect is Joseph. So Joseph has some Josephs to look back on, to carry us forward. And I am saying to young people, don't miss this moment, because we're still in it.
Yes.
And just in case some folks think, okay, it's over now, hey, this is serious business. If we only had the pandemic, you think we might have enough to deal with? My Lord, this stuff is very, very serious. Now, when you add disunity in the United States of America to the point where so-called lesser nations are now looking at us and saying they don't want it. You remember that everybody assumed that the universal definition of the American dream was, when you get to America, they might not even like doing right, but they have to do right by law and by politics. And then up pops somebody who says you can disregard all of that all willy-nilly. And therefore now we are in the throes of disunity like America has not seen since the Civil War.
Yes.
But God has a Joseph factor for us, because there are some people who today mean it for evil. They are out there. This is some serious stuff. But God is suggesting, God doesn't suggest. God knows what God's talking about. But he is letting us know, come to me, all you who are weary and are carrying heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. And rest does not mean sleep. Rest means that there is the opportunity to make good out of evil. And who's gonna do it? These very young people to whom we are talking, the very young people who got a shout out from Attorney Valencia brought us today, the very young people who are here in Kansas City, Missouri, and Stoots for Boots is saying that one of the incentives for doing something excellently is having a sense of purpose. When you think about Brother Ajamu Webster, the Black United Front, and the celebration of Kwanzaa every year, the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba are not just out there for show, but they mean something.
Yes.
And it starts with unity.
Yes.
So if I say on that particular day, Habari Ghani, and you say, Umoja, we are agreed that this is a day about unity. But if we unify, if we create an intelligent enough group, then on that next day I can say Habari Ghani and you can say Kuji Chakalia, because we are teaching our young people enough to be self-determining. So when this crazy stuff is going on, I am not going to be subjected to somebody else making me act like them, but I have self-determination based upon the unity of my people who are strengthening me to be able to do that. Self-determination is important in the Black community because I read the biography of Maya Angelou, The Heart of a Woman. In The Heart of a Woman, Maya Angelou talked about Nat King Cole, Harry Belafonte, Cicely Tyson, Ossie Davis, and Ruby Dee. These were the folks who were there for the civil rights community when they needed a show, when they needed a rally, when they needed to bring people together. These folks were very involved in the civil rights movement, 50s and 60s. Maya Angelou married Vazumzi Make, who was African. He was observing what was going on in America, and he made this statement: Black people in America say they want change, but what they want is exchange. What he was suggesting was don't consider it a victory if you become like the people who are misusing you. So yeah, you want change, you don't want exchange. Well, here again, as far as being prophetic is concerned, Brother Bazumzi Make needs to be around today because there are a whole bunch of people who want exchange. They want power. They want to be the ones in control. They want to take over. They want to put somebody else down and emerge victorious and be able to enslave those who enslave them. No, 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 no. If we are self-determining, nobody's going to make us do some silly stuff because Kuji Chagalia says, I got enough sense to do what is right based upon what I have learned and what we have come together to do, but we cannot do it singularly. So, Barangani, when I say Ujima, I'm talking about collective work and responsibility. That means even though we are self-determining, that's not individualistic. That means that we have a goal that we can work together on, and recognizing that the way that a person came to power and had followers so loyal that they would do some crazy stuff like we're involved with right now, it was largely based upon economics. So when I say Abarigani and you say Ujama, and we're talking about cooperative economics, we should not have to be led by somebody silly because they can buy our vote or they can buy our loyalty because they got the money to do it. And you have people as spokespeople for somebody you know has no integrity, but they gave us some money. They made our economics good. So we'll just, no. That's not what the principles of the Nguzo Saba are about. Because of Baragani, if I say Nia, that means purpose. That we are not going to have cooperative economics without a purpose in mind, and we're not going to be able to achieve our purpose if we are not self-determining. So we need the unity to bring that together. How does that happen? Well, the Baragani Kumba, creativity. We have always been a creative people. As a matter of fact, part of what our young people need to know is much of our creativity was never given due credit, and therefore our art, our genius, our math. When I look at the Hippocratic Oath, I think it ought to be the hypocritical oath. It ought to be the Imhotepic oath. When we have been a people who have not been engaged enough using our creative juices and then owning them, we can allow somebody else to take from us what has originally been ours. But something very, very important is happening right now, and Malana Karenga would call it Amani. We call it faith. And we need to have enough faith for many, myself included, my wife included, who are Christians. When we say faith, we're talking about faith in our Lord Jesus Christ. We're talking about God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. But when Malana Karenga was talking about faith, he was not reconciling it to one particular religion. He's talking about having enough faith, having enough confidence, having enough trust in each other, having enough foresight to help our children have faith in our ability to make a significant difference. If the world ever needed black folks, particularly American black folks, they need us now. They need us now. And one of the things that is revealing itself like, and here again, the Joseph factor, they meant it for evil, God meant it for good. Who would have known that George Floyd saying, I can't breathe, would spawn a movement across the world So while we are ushering in a peculiar way as it is, a new administration, we have had in this America to pay attention to Americans who happen to be Americans of color in a way that has never happened before. And I'm believing that God looked at Joseph and Kamala for such a time as this. So we can be depressed because of stuff that's going on, but we can have faith in what's coming. Now, I'm prejudiced, and I know that, but I think that KUW in Kansas City, Missouri, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom,
That's right,
has a bunch to do. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something. I'm just going on and on.
Go ahead, keep going.
But,
Keep that thought.
That thought has a key role to play because particularly of self-determination. There is not someone who is saying to Louis George Walker, we're going to make sure that you are sustained as long as you say this. I'm going to contribute to KUAW.org because I believe in what you want to do, but I'm going to need you to say this about that or to support this person in favor. No. Yeah. I'm sitting in front of the founder of KUAW. I don't want to misrepresent, but since we were at 5501 Cleveland, I have not seen you, Brother Walker, projecting Brother and Mildred Walker. It is not one of those things of, look at me. This is KUAW,
yes,
knowing and understanding Walker. That's
no.
not knowledge. So that you invite not just listenership, viewership via various social media, but this is a station of participation. Look at the programs that you have, and you will find on KUAW almost across the board programs inviting people to participate in a revolution.
Yes.
And there is no statement better made than KUAW, a Black-owned and operated station that invites differing opinions. That's all right.
All right. Yes.
It is well to have a disclaimer. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of KUAW and its affiliates. No, that's right. But the importance of it is children learn more by example than they do by instruction. And the example that is being set by KUAW is to have young people realize you can be self-determining. You can have a righteous cause without being a proselyte. You can project what is needed for such a time as this. So, my brother, I don't know if you will, but I would love to have you just offer for us projections for KUAW 2021, if you don't mind saying a word.
Well, as we're going into this new year, that is what we're looking at, is moving forward to keep progressing. So we're going into this new year, and we just had a meeting to say we're not waiting. It's not waiting on the pandemic to end. It's not waiting on somebody else to come along. We've been doing the work, and we have to continue to do that. We're going to be doing some improvements. We're going to be reaching out to more people. I want to see more young people coming through these doors. We've had a relationship with Raytown Middle School.
That's right.
For 2 or 3 years now.
Yes.
But we need to even expand upon that. We need to see more middle school and high school students that want to learn, want to work, want to come in here and help make it grow.
Yes,
and
sir.
the same way with our adults, we want to reach out to them to bring in the different viewpoints, as you just mentioned, the diversity of thought that is in our community and it needs to be heard. Everybody in our community, because a lot of times you watch television stuff and they says, well, the African American community thing. Well, the African American community is a pretty diverse place.
Come on.
It's hard to say that's what they think.
Yes.
You know, and stuff, because you've got everybody from conservatives to liberals in the African American community and stuff. You have rich and you have poor in the African American community. You got educated and illiterate in the African American community. Our community is diverse as any other. It's not a monolith. And we're going to respond differently in different sectors and stuff. So we need to have that voice in here from all over. You know, we need to have the college graduate that can sit down and talk with the person that dropped out of high school.
Come on.
And not belittle each other. Both of them
Thank
got
you.
a point.
Thank you.
You know, stuff. We need to have, you know, the person that is a good family person and the person that's in divorce. We have to have all those voices in order for people to learn from each other.
Yes, yes,
in order
yes.
to communicate to each other. If we don't have different voices, different viewpoints, then something's wrong.
Man,
You
this.
know, you can't all go in lockstep.
Come on.
That's not going to work.
And that is extremely important. And when I think about my opportunity to speak in a local community with my 7 listeners, and then be able to tune in to Cheryl Underwood, who has significantly more than 7. KUAW spans the spectrum, not only of viewpoint, but listener and viewership as well.
Yes, and that is the thing that we want. And we're looking at stretching that, improving that, still growing it. We were on the call today just talking about Twitch. She said, well, one of the listeners said, well, I hear that you're on Twitch. And so, yeah, we're on Twitch too now because everything is moving. But I said, we've got to learn how to market it. We've got to get the word out to people that we're on Twitch, that we're on this, because it doesn't just stay on Facebook. It doesn't just stay on YouTube. It doesn't just stay on Periscope. Twitter started Periscope a few years ago when hardly anybody was video conferencing. And everybody had to get on Periscope to do that. Well, now, as time has gone, Periscope's getting ready to shut down.
So you mean to tell me that when I go home and turn on my 2 TV channels and I'm looking for the Jackie Gleason Show and Dragnet, that in today's world it goes beyond.
It's hard to find.
But now, just in the time that we have less, educate me a bit because of my ignorance. When you say Twitch, one of the things that we ask you to do from time to time is remind listeners of how they can access KUAW.
All right. You can pick us up right now on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook. And then on the audio side, where we play our music is on the TuneIn app or on KUAW.org. And if you've got one of those smart speakers at home, if you got that Google or Alexis and stuff, you just tell them, play KUAW, and it'll start playing it.
See?
Right there. So you don't even have to have a computer. You can just talk to your Echo and say, play KUAW, and you'll hear us.
It gets better and better. I appreciate that so much. And as we get ready to close our program, once again, hello there to Quay Wilson, who would be saying and will be again saying, and now our host will give you his word for the day. And I finish programs with, to students across the USA, your Stoots for Boots message for this day. I give the date, I give the message. January 9th. Among the greatest lessons our troops helped me learn in school is that I'm worth protecting. Now, to me, that's pretty cool. And I offer it in behalf of the students. Thank you for listening. My name is Carl Boyd. Gracious God and wonderful Wanda, I'm on my way home.